Hi, welcome to another Illustrator workshop. In this video I'm going to be showing you how you can finish off a drawing so it looks really professional. I've drawn this little biker jacket. I've drawn the front and the back, and I've put some detail on the jacket already. I've done some little stitch lines. You can see I've got this kind of double stitch here. And I've also added some zips which I've drawn using brushes. I've also used on the back of the jacket this kind of lace detail. Now I'll be completely honest, I've stolen this. This has come from WGSN and it's was already created as a brush, but I'm going to show you how you can use things like this to really good effect. I'm going to start off by filling my jacket. Now I've decided I want this to be a leather jacket, and I've decided I want it to be green. So I found on the internet just a tiny swatch of green leather, and I've opened it up in Photoshop. So I'm just going to pop to Photoshop first of all. So here we go, and here's my green leather swatch that I'm going to use. It's absolutely teeny tiny, but I don't need it to be any bigger than that. And I'm going to set this up so it will work as a repeat pattern. Now sometimes the plainest things like a plain leather or a plain fabric can give us the most problems when we're creating a textured fill, because we don't want it to look kind of blocky, like it's made of cubes. So we need to make sure that this will repeat nicely without any kind of obvious lines in it. So to check this out, first of all, I'm going to go to my filter menu, and if I just slide all the way down to the bottom here where it says other and choose offset, you can see here my offset's automatically gone to 144 pixels down. Okay, so it's moved 144 pixels from the top to the middle, which just shows how tiny this little swatch is. And you can see this rather hard line. Okay, so there are a couple of ways I could deal with this. And you might need to do some fiddling around to find out what works best for your particular texture. Sometimes I use the patch tool, which is here. It looks like a little patch, and I'll just show you each method that you could go through. So I could just do a rough selection around that and then move. Okay, and if I move that up, you can see it kind of blends it away. I've got this rather dark bit here, which I'm not quite sure about. Can you see that? So it might be that I might need to move in a slightly different direction. There we go. So I could try that. So, but I've kind of introduced a worse edge. Can you see I've got this kind of mottling? I've kind of done that to myself a little bit. So I'm going to undo that. Alternatively, I could do a content aware fill. So I've gone to fill and I've chosen content aware, and I could do something like this, which isn't too bad, although I can still see a trace of a line here. Alternatively, I don't select anything. I just kind of move this into the middle and use the rubber stamp or the clone tool. So I've chosen this, and if I take my caps lock off, I can just see exactly how big the brush is. So I can pick something up from up here and just brush in along this line. I'll randomize it a little bit. Okay, so that's gone in that direction, and I think that's probably the most successful for this particular texture. As I say, you might have to fiddle around with all three of those to find out what works best for your particular texture. Some things are more successful than others. I like the patch tool for some knit things, they work really well. But this, I think the just the clone tool is probably best. I'm going to go back to my filter and other, and offset again. I'm just going to put this back to 0 and just move this across. Oops. I kind of want it more or less in the middle. There we go. So I can see the line down the centre now, and I'm going to use the clone tool again for this. So I'm just going to pick this up and just brush into the centre like so. Okay, and that should give me my nice repeat. If you want to check it out a little bit more, you can do. So if you go back to other and offset and just push this around to make sure that you can't see any obvious lines. Okay, so that'll do. So first things first, I need to select this. So I'm going to use Command or Control A, depending on whether you're using a Mac or a PC. And then I'm going to copy it. So Command or Control C, there we go. And then I'm going to go back to Illustrator. And I'm just going to paste this in here like that. Now what that will do for me is it will allow me to scale it down for starters. So I'm just going to hold the Shift key and scale this down till it's more or less in proportion with my jacket. I don't want it too small. If I make it too small, I will start to see kind of little squares all over my jacket, but this is a kind of nice sort of texture that will work well on my jacket now. So then I can go to Object and choose Pattern and Make. Now it will automatically add the pattern to my swatches panel, tells me it's done it, and then it will show me. Now I know you can see a kind of repeating pattern there, but it's kind of soft, and over the jacket you won't really be able to tell too much. Plus the jacket has been drawn by myself and it's drawn in pieces, so I'll be able to add the texture and rotate it and maybe change the scale a little bit, so you won't see that pattern at all. I'm going to call it green leather. There we go. Now I need this to stay as a grid. If I start messing around with the tile type, you will mess it up completely, so just leave that alone. And then my green leather pattern is here, so I can delete this now. I've made another one already, this red leaf jacquard, which I'm going to use for the lining of my jacket. That's already been set up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select the pieces of the jacket that I want to be green leather. Now it's a mistake to go and select all the pieces of the jacket and apply green leather, because it will just look totally flat. You're much better off picking up a piece at a time and giving it a little bit of attention. Okay, so there's my green leather. Now I might feel like this is a little large in this space, so what I can do is I can select this piece, go to Object and Transform and Scale. Okay, now I don't want to scale the actual object, I just want to scale the pattern. So I want, where it says Transform Pattern, I need this to be ticked, and where it says Transform Objects, I need that to not be ticked. Okay, and then I can scale this down. Let's just see what that gives us. Right, okay, I'm just going to reset this. There we are. And try this again. I didn't do anything wrong, it's just remembering something that I did earlier, so don't worry too much about it. Now I've reset this, so it's come in at 100%, and I'm just going to transform the pattern. So I want to make it about half the size it is now. There we go. So that looks about right, and then I can click OK, and then I can do the same thing over here. Now I could pick that up from there, okay, and I might put the same pattern in here. I'm using the eyedropper tools. The keyboard shortcut for that is just the letter I, so I can just click on here, and then I'm going to pull that in. Now this is what I mean about it's all starting to look a little bit flat. So what I'm going to do with this texture now is I'm going to go to transform and rotate. Okay, so it just disrupts that pattern a little bit, and I can pick that in there like that, and then I might rotate it again, and I might scale it slightly as well, because that's the thing about leather. The grain is kind of quite variable, so I'm just going to scale this so it's a little larger. There we go. And then I'm going to select that and put that in there so it's different to the pieces around it. And then I've just got the lapels to do. I think I'll rotate this again. Like so. Maybe copy that. And scale this one, I think. There we are. So that's the front of my jacket coloured. Don't worry about if you get lines like this appearing, they're not really there. It's just a bit of a screen discrepancy where the tile is on the pattern. Okay, so don't worry about that. So now I'm going to just fill the back in much the same way. I'm going to do this quite quickly. I'm just going to pick up random pieces. Like that. Oh, missed a bit. There we go. So that's all the green leather done. Now I'm going to do the lining of the jacket. So you can see this little piece here. This should be green, I think. Let me just pop that in. It's got, I'll talk about this little piece in a minute, but I'm just going to do this bit here. This is my lining, and I'm going to use this red leaf jacquard like that, and I'm going to use the same jacquard there so you can see the lining. So this is coming along quite nicely. Now I've got my zips. Now the zips are not drawn as individual little teeth on a zip. as they actually appear here, they're created using brushes. So there is a workshop that I've created for you that shows you how to create a brush, but I'll just show you what these look like. So I'm just going to draw a line here. I'm just going to take this fill off, and then if I go to my brushes panel, you can see I've got these zips here that I've created. Now the ones that I've put on this jacket don't have a pull on them. They're like this. This is a half zip, so where the zip is open, we have this going on, and where the zip is closed, it looks like this. And this is my top stitch, twin needle top stitch, like so. And you can see I've got another brush here. This is the one that I took from WGSN, like so. Now the reason it looks black here, this is what I want to talk to you about next. If I just zoom in on this, the way this brush is set up, it takes on board the colour that you're using here. So if I change the colour, you can see the colours change. Okay, and I'll show you what that looks like. If I go to my brushes panel, this is the brush that we're using at the moment, and if I double click on it, you can see something called colorization here, and the method that we're using is called Hue Shift. Okay, we've got these variables here, but this one is using Hue Shift. So if I wanted a kind of dark brown, like so, that will work quite nicely, I think, with my my jacket. So I need to just zoom out so I can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to just select these lines and change my stroke colour. Like that. Okay, now I don't want to do a hue shift for the zip. I'm going to use something else. I'm going to use Tint for this one. Now this is my closed zip, so if I just double click, oops, I need to do that. So I'm going to just change the colour of my stroke again. I think I'm going to use a purpley colour. So it's like a contrasting, oh no, I've used red, like a red jacquard. So I might go for something that's a bit more like the jacquard, kind of scarlet colour. Too many things selected. Let's just do this properly. So kind of not too bright. Like so. And that's using the tint method. I'll just show you what these do. So if I go tints and shades, we have something that looks like that. I actually think that looks better than tints, and of course we have Hue Shift again. So I'm going to go for tints and shades this time. I'm going to apply that to my strokes. and I'm just going to go and select everywhere where that zip is, and I'm going to use my eyedropper tool so I don't have to go and remember what that colour was. And these open zips, same colour on there as well. And again, I need to just change this to tints and shades. Like so. So now I've got these kind of nice red zips on my green leather jacket with my red jacquard lining. And just need to change missed one. There we are. And now what I'm going to do is I want to add some detail on these pieces, and this little panel on the back and on the outside of the arms. I want to add a little bit of quilting in there. Now I'm going to do this by adding another fill pattern. So if I go to my appearances panel, we've got my green leather fill, and I've also got another fill set up down here. So I'm going to just select one that's already set up. It's called Quilting. I'm just going to put the quilting, move that up like that so it's sitting on top. There we are. So now you can see this kind of quilting pattern, and then I'm going to do the same here. So set up quilting and drag that up, and the same on the back. And then in this back panel as well. And that's it. So I'm just going to delete that line I drew. Now to finish off, I'm going to add some different zip pulls. The reason I drew this zip without a zip pull is because I wanted to add something a little bit special. And I've already set this up to be a symbol, so it's just a drawing and it's been dragged into the symbols panel, and here it is. So I've got these pearl zip pulls. So if I just drag that and drop it, you can see my zip pull comes in like that. And they don't break apart, they stay together. And I can just rotate this like so. And then I've got a small zip pull like this, which will work on smaller zip areas. So I'm going to position that there and just rotate it round like so. Another one over here. Again, just rotate it round. Now, to rotate this round, I'm clicking on the point that I want to rotate it around. This is where I'm setting my point of origin. So I'm just going to click here. Can you see where the crosshair of my cursor is? So if I just click there, and it's left a little crosshair. And now when I grab hold of the other end of the ring pull, you can see that it pivots around that point. Okay, so there's nothing overly mysterious about that. Not sure where those zip pull. I think they should be at the other end, shouldn't they? Maybe. I think they should be there. we zip up, don't we? And then these are closed, so the zip will be down. So again, setting my point of origin and then moving that round like so. And then the last one is going to go over here. And again, set the point of origin by clicking and rotate that around like that. So there we have it. We've got our zip pulls in place, and our texture and fills have all been completed.